Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Blue Bounty Hunter channel. And remember that scene from Revenge of the Sith with that duel between Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Dooku? Well, now randomly throw a Sith version of Qui-Gon in there that is fighting alongside his once master, now Sith brethren, and you have our situation for today. Oh, and in case you didn't watch part 1, spoilers, because we're also going to have to remove Obi-Wan from the premises as he had some minor flesh wounds in the last video. The near atmosphere of Coruscant was filled with sounds of ARC-170s zipping past, high-pitched trills of vulture droids, and also the massive movement of the Venator and Munificent capital ships alike. Welcome to the Battle of Coruscant. But above all of these electronic audios comes the distant echo of a Jedi's Eta II interceptor with yellow markings with a large red stripe down the middle, which of course belongs to the vengeful Anakin Skywalker. You see, ever since his master's death at the hands of Darth Protego, or Qui-Gon, in the halls of Geonosis, the young Jedi has been on an oath to kill the two Sith, including of course Darth Tyrannus. This time, with no Obi-Wan to accompany him, Anakin just blows straight through the shields of the hangar with his cannons and then braces before his starfighter crashes into the surface of the area. The Jedi leaps out of his vehicle as it rolls over and over and then consequently explodes behind him, allowing Anakin to flip up and dive into a swarm of battle droids, cutting through them like a maniac with a lightsaber. The foes stand no chance to Skywalker as his blade swirls around his shoulders, and then after he is finished with the first batch, a second enters the room from the far entrance. Anakin's response to this is of course to pull out all of the buzz droids from the closest droid tri-fighter and then throw them at the group before exploding all of them like a bunch of grenades. As Skywalker walks out towards the elevator, he must use the Force to push back some of the shrapnel coming towards him. Next up, Anakin goes up the elevator to the top of the invisible hand where he knows the Sith and therefore Chancellor he has been assigned to save are residing. Dooku and Jin stare out at the surface of the city planet they once called home as multiple dogfighters zoom past. This moment is interrupted by the sound of a door opening behind them. After turning around and walking past the captured Chancellor, who they secretly know to be Darth Sidious, the two Sith take in the sight of Anakin Skywalker, who has adopted the look of a merciless warrior with a ripped tunic and hair completely shaved other than the single braid in the back. Is it that time already? Yes, I think it must be. Time for a duel. The last duel between us and this boy. Don't worry, old man. It'll all be over soon. Oh yes, I imagine this would have been a simple confrontation if circumstances were different. You know, we stand here menacingly in a big throne room and young angry Jedi that thinks he's impressing anyone but his prick of a wife rushes in to meet us. But it would appear we have something here that you want. Darth Protego then turns on his red lightsaber right in front of Palpatine, which starts to sizzle the hairs on the Elder's face. Then Skywalker throws his hooded cloak back and he flips over the railing with one hand and then ignites his own lightsaber. And hate to interrupt, but is it just me or would it hurt pretty bad to keep jumping off all of these platforms and stuff? I mean, it can be good on the knees, and don't even get me started on that time Padme jumped like 20 feet and landed with no problem. I'm still convinced she must have been a Jedi for pulling that off. Stand back. If you want to end anyone's life, it'll be through a lightsaber fight. Call me what you like, but one thing I am is a man of honor. I say we fight Lord Protego. Interesting. Leave ourselves exposed and let Anakin to the hostage? Well, I suppose you should be light work anyway, so let's see to it. The three converge into battle as the blue lightsaber aggressively fends off the two of opposing color. Back and forth goes the duel between the three as Tyrannus again uses his expert swordsman skills to batter Anakin further and further back, which alongside the occasional bursts of lightning from Qui-Gon that are now blocked by a more experienced Anakin, provide for a considerable threat for the Jedi. The three fight up onto the stair area where Dooku spins around Anakin's back with his lightsaber and then kicks the man up towards the ceiling, who in turn kickflips up and then kicks Darth Tyrannus onto the platform below, continuing his lightsaber contest with Protego. The two make their way down the other side of the stairwell before Dooku lunges forward to meet the two, similar to Sidious's leap in Revenge of the Sith. After another brief spur of hits, however, Anakin lightly slashes Darth Protego across the back before force pushing him all the way over to the far window, where he falls into a small indent in the ground. Then Anakin kicks Tyrannus back before cutting through the one hand holding his lightsaber. Dooku falls to the ground in shock, looking up at his missing limb, which is followed by Anakin force pulling his red lightsaber to him to put Dooku in a lock. Palpatine, sensing the power of this young warrior, stands up and schemes how he will allow Anakin to kill Dooku before the two of them, side by side, Sidious and Vader, will take on Qui-Gon with ease. Good, Anakin. You have defeated your enabler. Now imagine how all of those years of brutal backlash from the Council and limited guidance from your deceased master could have changed if this man had just not held you back during that duel all those years prior. Anakin thinks about this as his pupils go up in hatred, and he starts to concentrate and force his blades closer to the neck of the Count. Yes, it is time, sir. Please, no need for pleasantries. Call me Master. Now make the move, dismember this fiend, and let us be on with our day. Qui-Gon now realizes that it has been Sidious who has manipulated them all these years. Sidious who has taken his life from him, and now he plans to end their lives after their long dedication to his cause. I disagree. He then leaps up with as much power and stealth as a man of his age can muster, but Sidious does his best to pull him back. However, Darth Protego uses this reverse momentum to force pull his own lightsaber, which was lying on the ground next to Skywalker, through the heart of the Jedi, letting it turn on midway to cause maximum damage. Anakin stands there gasping for air. No. Then he slumps over to the ground with both of his sabers turned off and lies there dead. Then Qui-Gon uses the Force to pull the corpse's robot arm off of him, and he then rips the hand and forearm onto Dooku's severed appendage, who then gets up and ignites his own curved hilt. The two turn around to face Sidious, their own master. As the Emperor's anger rises in the room, so does the temperature as he rises up, levitating in the air, and then his black cloak is bestowed upon his back, lifting the hood over his dark glare. You scum have ruined my plans. Now until I can find a stronger apprentice, you must suffer! He then sends the largest storm of Force lightning at the two ever recorded in recent history, causing the lesser Sith to fly back into opposite sides of the room. Then they get up, share a look, and both lift display screens from across the room to bash into the dark Sith, knocking him from his possessed state. I'm not exactly sure if these would count as display screens, but basically it's just these interesting objects here that are also seen in Palpatine's throne room in Return of the Jedi. If you wish to die by blade instead, fools, then so be it. Palpatine then pulls out his two blades before immediately locking in combat with his targets, driving them far back into the facility. While the opposers fight in a very controlled and elegant yet powerful style, Sidious is truly another creature altogether, since he flips back and forth, spinning his sabers like a madman, edging the strength of his prey piece by piece. While this fight is quite similar to that of Savage, Maul, and Sidious during the Clone Wars, it would not be nearly as easy for Palpatine, as these were arguably more experienced opponents that both held their own despite their old age. Then, as always with their excellent teamwork, Dooku and Qui-Gon both shoot out their own Force lightning at Palpatine, who would respond by blocking each stream with his own massive wave of bolts, which causes the three to lock in a struggle of Force lightning, shooting both ways and meeting in the middle. I mean, this really does remind me of another series with two opponents meeting streams of energy in the middle. I just can't quite put my finger on it. Nah, I don't really know, but well, it doesn't matter anyway, since this channel is 100% Star Wars when you look at it. With this final confrontation, however, the entire room is lit with the blue energy of kinetic force, but then randomly, Qui-Gon stops his lightning, which causes Sidious to stumble, and then Protego rolls across the ground, spins around Palpatine, and then cuts through his torso with his own two blades. Sidious isn't even allowed to take in his own soon defeat before the lightning of Count Dooku, which is still going on at this point, crashes into the old man, making him fly back across the room, and he then smashes into the glass, cracking it before falling onto the ground below in 2 pieces. Let's finish this. Move over to that control panel there and turn on the heavy armored seal to close us off. Got it. Then Darth Protego lifts the remnants of Sidious's body and throws them through the window into the vacuum of space to ensure his death. Then, as instructed, Tyrannus quickly flips the controls, protecting Qui-Gon and him from the now forgotten danger of space warfare. Moving on to our epilogue, after this catastrophic event, but quite successful from the perspective of our main characters, the overwhelming Separatist forces would overpower the Republic at Coruscant due to the already great war efforts from the previous 3 Sith, but also the lack of General Kenobi's help in the space battle, which was a big strategic help in the original battle. And the Darths Tyrannus and Protego would crash the Invisible Hand capital ship into the Jedi Temple, leaving little to no survivors. While this is happening, the two would escape via the escape pods on board as the entire city planet is invaded and then conquered by the Separatist forces. The CIS would later win the war after an additional 3.5 years, making the entire Clone Wars 7 years long. After all is said and done, the Battle of Coruscant would serve as a turning point in the war, similar to that of the Battle of Endor during the original Galactic Civil War. With this major victory, Dooku and Qui-Gon would create a separatist democracy around the galaxy, with the Empire of course never existing. And while coming from the rough origins, this reign would one day prove to be actually more peaceful than the Republic from years prior, since there would be more freedom and less control over the individual systems, allowing for a more monitored yet independent galaxy overall. Dooku and Qui-Gon would live out their remaining years as great counts to this rule. So that's the end of this what if story. It's been a wild ride, and I understand that this part was significantly shorter than part 1, but I think we already covered a lot of stuff and there really wasn't too many places to go from here that wouldn't just draw out the story too much. And also there's the fact that I'm going to be moving towards making 2 videos every week this summer instead of just 1 like I usually do, because I will have more time now that I'm out of school, so therefore the videos might be slightly shorter just so that I can fit 2 in, but we should be looking at about 10 to 13 minutes on average. But anyway, that's it for this video. You can subscribe if you want to.
Does that mean I can go? Huh?
I upload every Friday and sometimes on Sunday too at 5:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, I post shorts on Saturday, but yeah, see ya.